As a broker, the last 4 days have been action-packed with events, as all franchise conferences tend to be. Action-packed roundtables, golf, discussions, keynote speakers that we're going to go to soon. So started off with a long day of golf. I say long just because it was a 4-person scramble. Our first hole, it said we were like 3-4 minutes behind. By the time we finished 18 holes, it said we were over 60 minutes behind. So we didn't do as great as we would have liked, but it was an awesome day. As I said about like competitors talking, sharing industry secrets. We were in scramble, 4 people. So I'm with founder of another brand, another franchise developer, and then someone that represents a funding company. So talk about alignment there. And literally we were joking, we were like, really all we need now is someone interested in business ownership because we have all the pieces right here. Really just being able to build those connections face to face. Ever since 2020, COVID, a lot of stuff has switched to Zoom, online, and it's super effective. I run a lot of my business virtually online, and it's awesome. I definitely have no complaints. I run a podcast, and it's really completely virtual through Zoom. So shout out to Zoom, but honestly, it's really helpful to have in-person relationships. There's something deeper about really seeing someone in person and building that connection. And really just talking about like stories and having people tell their story on social media and content, like hearing someone's actual story. And for me, especially as a franchise consultant, I'm personally evaluating all the franchises here, and there's always kind of like 3 buckets for me when I'm looking for that good franchise opportunity. One, do they have franchise specific? Or I'll start with are they a good business? You can be a good business, that's step 1. But 2, do you have a franchise specific experience? That's where you kind of bring in the best of both worlds. It's very different to be a successful business, and that's tremendous. But to be a successful franchise is a completely different story. And the franchise community is really a small community that creates hundreds of millions of jobs, and we're all willing to give that help. There's tremendous organizations that help businesses do that. And the third part, and that's why I brought this up, is that franchise developer, as a franchise consultant, they're bringing the candidates that I work with, the partners that I work with through that process. So having that relationship and that trust is huge. And what do I mean by that is really, are they a franchise owner themselves? Are they a business owner? Should they have family ties to that franchise? What's their why to that brand? Because I know these partners that I work with, I represent, they're potentially making a huge investment into their life, their financials, their lifestyle. Their life's definitely going to change if they do become a franchise owner. So I'm always telling candidates when they're going through this process, is that franchise developer selling you something, or are they telling you something? Because a good franchise developer has a personal tie to the brand, and they're not trying to sell you anything because they have a personal tie to that. So they know the personal meaning, and they know the other franchise owners in the system, and that's where the true alignment in franchising comes. When it's not just someone selling something like a typical position, pharmaceutical sales, financial sales, whatever it may be, and those are all tremendous jobs, but in franchising, you're making a real impact on your community. So it really is about that 2-way process as you're evaluating those brands. So for me, the golf is really great, to be outside the classroom, if you will, kind of building those relationships, and for me, evaluating those people's whys. And even funding, there's a couple of different funding companies out there, so figuring out what their specific why is, what their tie is, not only to the business, the franchise, and as I am working with those partners, how they'll kind of guide them through that process is important. So the next day was more kind of classroom type thing, but we have breakfast in the morning, networking events. There's been non-stop events, and in between each event, there's 30-hour-minute networking events. Like I said, building face-to-face connections, lunch and learns where you're at tables. If the tables are literally set up where it's franchisor, brand supplier, consultant like myself, like it's literally everyone face-to-face. You have no other option but to build relationships, and that's when you really see like the truth about all these people when you're face-to-face with them, building those connections. Because it's very easy to say something over the computer, but when you actually see those people in person, that's why for the candidates, when they're speaking to the franchise developer, this process is so powerful because they're going to speak to people that actually made this investment, speak to them in person, and really go through that step-by-step process. So outside of that, we've had roundtable discussions where there's really like 6 big topics, from franchise sales to the Sandler training, which is fantastic, funding, as we're talking about, so all these different categories, and really helping all these different people even not only get better at their current position, but learn about the other vendors, suppliers, brands, and franchising. And you start to figure out, we're all here together with the same purpose, the same why statement, if you will. I think that's been really powerful, going to the roundtables. I'm super excited. We have a really big keynote speaker coming up. And then tonight we have a nice, I think, a tailgate dinner. So nice 3-hour event of building more relationships. And yeah, that's really just been like roundtables, really cool, build discussions, networking events like this. There were a ton of people here. There's been a lot of people here